Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is our third live, can you believe it, since we started in the summer. And I'm representing the Brook Business Network. It's an arm of the Brook Place Church. And tonight our topic is shifting mindsets. Poverty to abundance. You'll be able to stream in from Facebook and from YouTube. So we have an amazing guest this evening, but I'm going to tell you about her in 5 minutes. So I'd like to tell you a little bit more about our church, who we are, what we do. So we are the business arm of the Brook Place Church, whose aim is to help members and well-wishers flourish in the business of their purpose. Our pastors are Apostle Oscar Gourbadier and his beautiful wife, Pastor Triumph. And Pastor Triumph is the one that the Brook Business Network reports directly to. So a lot of these things that we're doing really comes through her also. And she's just amazing. We love her. Okay, so what are the aims of the Brook Business Network? We want to educate, empower, and energize our network members to take action. Now, eventually, when we do our full in-person launch in the spring of next year, you'll be able to sign up as full paying members of this network. Up until then, the lives will be complimentary. So we want you to be able to take action in your business world and in your private world, and also side hustles. So side hustles are brilliant. I did side hustles several for years whilst I still worked as a teacher in a secondary school. So side hustles are brilliant. We want you to help you to organize yourself by giving informative monthly workshops on relevant business topics. Okay. And we want to signpost small and medium enterprises to local and national programs. Often we may hear that there is a grant or something from local authorities or from a governmental agent. It could be because you are an ethnic minority, or it could be because you're a woman, whatever. Often the government, to make themselves feel better, they offer all these little grants. So we keep our ear to the ground, and then once you're a member, you'll be getting all of this information on a regular basis. So why are networks valuable? We believe that networks provide valuable information in a safe place. A network, once you get to know the people that are running, not just our network, but once you get to know people that are running network, your network becomes a family, a place that you can go to and you can glean information, you can exchange ideas, and you can get that kind of boost up the bum that you need, which often happens with small and medium enterprises. Networks increase your influence also. So you become valuable as part of a network family. And so your influence is increased, and your inner strength also increase. Yeah. So you may know what you know, but until people start appreciating your knowledge and the way that you operate, sometimes you're not really kind of empowered enough. So networks empower. Networks also connect you to others. And often networks will connect you to the person that will open the next door or help you with the next best thing, or become your next business partner. So networks are invaluable. I've always used them in no matter what business area I've done. So we, Esther in our team, she put together a sheet and she put it out amongst the members of the church, and it was a survey. And this was the results of the survey, so more or less. So she asked you, what topics do you want to learn? What do you want the network to do for you? And these were the answers on the screen. So we plan to do most of these. Self-employment legislation is definitely coming. Eventually, we will have on the church's website a list under the Brook Business Network page. On the church's website, we will have a list of which month we're having what topic so that you can plan ahead. Intellectual property and capital investments, and that's my area of expertise. Target audience, how to decide whether you're targeting to under 18s, over 18s, 30 upwards, or over 60s. Okay. Business plan, which we have done, and we're going to show you how to listen in again. Sometimes you have to listen into these lives 3 or 4 times to be able to glean from it everything. Every time I listen back to our speakers, I hear something that I didn't hear the first time. Developing your ideas, again, we did that with Mr. Baccaro. It was excellent. So again, we'll show you how to listen back on that on Facebook and YouTube. And social media, website, just shop front, which one should you have? Okay, which is going to work best for your business plan? Now, capital investments, that's an area that I will be teaching as a paid workshop for our members. So if you're a paid up member, then you'll be getting that for free. It's part of your subscription eventually. So capital investments, which include precious metals and gemstones. I am an expert on precious metals and gemstones. I collect rubies, diamonds from all over different mines all around the world. I collect emeralds from Zambia and so on. So we're going to do a whole section just on collecting precious metals and gemstones, because the longer you hold them, the more valuable they are. And then also we'll teach you how to look out for signals. So is it a good time to buy gold right now? Well, if interest rates are going up and the cost of money is really high for borrowers and so forth, then precious metals are good, right? So we'll talk to you about precious metals. There's a whole knack to that. And then we're going to teach you about money markets such as Forex, crypto, and the stock market. And we will be getting in experts in the field. One of them, Toby Arimi, he is excellent on Forex and crypto and stuff like that. So is our very own Apostle Oscar, excellent on crypto, and we'll get them into to do a kind of a talk back and forth between them to teach us what they know. Real estate, that's my area. So we'll teach you how to invest properly in real estate. And if there's any of you that are investing in real estate right now and you haven't been educated, I would say pause that, okay, and get some education. Never invest in anything that's going to cost you. In fact, never invest in anything until you have education in the area. So those are the subjects that we will be moving on to. So as I said, here are the links. Write them down. So the replay links are on Facebook on the Brook Place Church website. That's not on the Brook Business Network yet. It's on the Brook Place Church website. Facebook and YouTube. And there are the links. Please write them down. Please go in there and listen to Thriving in a Recession. It was a hot topic. We were able to do that topic just before the government decided to announce that we were in a recession. So we felt it in the waters. We knew it was coming, and the Holy Spirit enabled us to be able to teach you all about how to thrive. And that was our first live in July. And then we went on to do developing your business ideas and your business plans. Again, if you are doing a business and you do not have a roadmap, click pause, do your roadmap. If you need an expert, Andy Baccaro is excellent. Our speaker that's coming on later is excellent at this also. And so was Andrea. Okay, so we can put you in touch with these people. They've given us permission to do that, and you will be able to get help in building your business plan. You will not be able to get funding from any institution unless you have a business plan. Okay, so now during the live, this is really important. Tonight, we welcome you to post your questions to Facebook chat or YouTube chat. Our team, and I just want to give them a hand right now, Esther, Shakima, Adora, I would not be able to do this without you. And I just want to mention again, Pastor Emmanuel, who is not in the background this evening, but he's taught the girls what they know. And I think that's just amazing. So I just want to give God thanks for his life. So our team will collate your questions tonight for our guest and for me, whichever one you want to field the question to, and we will answer your questions at the end. So just hold fire. Please, if you see a question already asked, do not repeat the same question. Ask a different one. The session is designed to give you nuggets to take away and chew on. Okay, so you can see my little open head there. It says that it pays to keep an open mind, but not so open that your brains fall out. Yeah. So we are not saying, I am not saying, and our guests, amazing guest coming up is not saying, and the Brook Business Network is not saying, and Apostle Oscar and his wife are not saying that we are giving you advice. What we're doing is giving you nuggets to chew on. And then you can go away and decide which best nugget or nuggets to implement in your own life or your business. Yeah. The decision that you take will be down to you and your professional business advisor. If you haven't got one, I suggest you get one. And right now, I'm introducing you to a professional business and personal development and life coach. She's amazing. Her name is Debbie Akinkunle. Debbie is a qualified solicitor and works with major banks while still organizing her time effectively to be a personal development expert. Debbie is a business coach, an author, and a keynote speaker. Right about now, you know, this woman is so huge in her knowledge and her abilities to help us that, can you see my weave? It's like spinning around. Can you see? It's spinning. Can you see that? Okay, so one of Debbie's personal goals is to see more Black women in senior leadership roles and more of us becoming serial entrepreneurs, not just a CEO of one business. She wants us, and she knows we can do it. We can be serial entrepreneurs. Wherever you are right now, I want you to repeat, I declare that I am a serial entrepreneur and not just a CEO of one. Let's put our network hands together as we welcome our amazing special guest, Debbie Akinkunle. Take control, girl. Take control. We welcome you.
Hello, Hazel. Hello, Mr. Hello, everybody. First of all, I want to say thank you very much to the Brook Business Network for having me here today. Thank you to Hazel. Thank you to your amazing team for putting this together. I want to say thank you to all the guests, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. You are appreciated. Thank you for tuning in. I'm talking today about shifting mindsets and moving from a poverty mindset to abundance. And one thing you're going to find as we go through this is one of the key areas is sharing. It's sharing what you have. And so right about now, if you've not done so already, I want you to hit the share. I want you to hit the share button, right? Hit the share button. Let everyone know that we are on, we are live, we are shifting mindsets. This is not for just you. This is for all of us. So if you know that you have an abundant mindset or you want to move to an abundant mindset, then this is the time for you to hit share, hit share, hit share. Everybody who is watching right now should hit share. Let's double the numbers. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can copy the link. You can put it in your social media. You can put it on WhatsApp. And let's get more and more people watching this, because you never know who's going to be blessed, who's going to get value out of this, and the lives that can be changed as a consequence of engaging in this live today. So as I said, I'm excited to be here. Thanks once again to the Brook Business Network. Thank you to the Brook Place, my Brook Place family. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in from wherever you are in the world. It is a pleasure to be here. So without much ado, I'm going to continue now. Thank you for that amazing introduction. I do appreciate that. Just to recap, my name is Debbie Akinkunle, and I am I'm a trained solicitor. I'm also a business consultant. I have a degree in both in business and I have a degree in law. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I'm often referred to as a kingdom life coach. I am qualified, I'm certified by the Maxwell leadership team of John Maxwell. I like to refer to myself as an investor in people. I'm not happy unless I'm investing in people. Can everybody hear me? I hope everybody can hear me loud and clear. Just let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Thank you to everybody who has shared this so far. If you can get more people sharing, that would be amazing. Let's get the numbers up. But if you can hear me, let me just know that you can hear me. Okay, fabulous. You can hear me. Great. So as I was saying, I'm a teacher, I'm a trainer, I'm a speaker. And one thing many people don't know about me is I'm also a behavioral analyst. So I analyze behaviors, and I tell you, maybe where your strengths and your weaknesses are and how you can improve on that. I tend to focus in business coaching. I tend to focus on people who are generally in the startup phase of their business, or who are looking to move to pivot from working full-time to full-time business. As Hazel just said, I'm also taking a keen interest on working with women, particularly Black women, to become senior leaders in the corporate world. And so a lot of what we're sharing here today will help you in that regard. Great. So as we move on, one thing I want you to know about me is I'm an optimist by nature. And I believe that being an optimist is key to having the right mindset. I'm always looking to find out, if you've ever engaged me, I'm always looking to find out, what are you doing right now? What are you doing with what you have? What are you doing in your business? Are you winning? Are you thriving? Are you making it work for you? And as has been said already, I believe that whether you're in business or whether you're in the corporate world, there is more. We should aspire for more. We shouldn't just be satisfied where we are with the mundane, everyday reality. We should strive for more, because there is always more. And so even if you're a sole trader, I might encourage you to be, what are you doing with your business? You might not be somebody who's been called to manage a chain of businesses. And if you are, praise the Lord, that's what I love. But if you're not, you might want to start a business and flip it when it's doing good and start another one. Or you might be somebody who's good at lecturing, or, just helping people start up. So what qualifies me to come to you today to speak to you just in terms of shifting mindsets and moving from poverty abundance. So on the screen there, I am sharing with you some of the businesses that I've run. I've run many businesses. It's no wonder that I did a degree in business, but I have run many businesses in the past, and I've just got a few of them on the screen there. The first one being My Mag, which was a local magazine for your local area. You gained exclusivity for the area that you were in, and I was in Bexley at the time, so I had exclusivity. And what it was a magazine which told you about all the different businesses in your area. So if you're moving into the area, you knew where you could get all the things you needed to start up. Then I went on from there and I started an academy, which was called Young Academies. And it was a tutoring company for 6 to 13-year-olds. And essentially it was just, it started with 11 plus. So if you're a parent, or if you're engaged with young people, you might know a bit about 11 plus, but it's an examination that children have to take in order to enter grammar school. And so I started doing that for some of the children in my local area. I started with my daughter, and then started providing that for some other people, and I turned it into a business, and then started doing that for a few years. And I did all this whilst working. As I moved on from there, I started training other people to start their own tutoring business. And at least 2 of the people that I trained are still in business today, running their own tutoring business. One person actually has a school as a consequence of that. That business also used to provide training guides for parents and also for the budding tutors to help them in their businesses. From there, I moved on and I had another company called Start Edit Right, or a play on words, Started It Right. It was an editing and it was a proof reading company, and essentially what it was doing was supporting students who were in college or university with their thesis or their write-up, anything to do with essay writing and all of that beautiful thing, just in terms of proofreading and editing. It also expanded to provide career development, so CV, interview skills, covering letters, and how to win that job that you're looking for, how to get students from the student life into professional roles. And as a consequence of that, I found myself speaking in schools and universities as well, just sharing some of these great stuff. And I hope that as I'm speaking to you, you're getting some ideas in terms of some of the things that you can do as well in business as we look to move from a poverty mindset to an abundant mindset. From there, I had a business called Can Consult. It was a social media outfit. And then I went on to Minister's Desk, which was a business consultancy company. And what we did there, we designed and built websites, and we provided support to ministries, to churches, to charities, etc., and helping them on their time management and really just to get good at what they do. Another business I started was called Wisdom True Stationery Resources, which is still ongoing at the moment. It's an online shop and it generates passive income for me. You may know I've written 2 books. I co-wrote 1 book with my sister, and I wrote another book by myself, which is actually a bestseller. They provide me with passive income. But aside from those books, I have an online stationery store where I sell books, I sell journals, I sell diaries, and all of those lovely things that you can get. And it's nice to just wake up to a little check from time to time to say, hey, remember that business you've got there? It's generating money for you. And then from there, I moved on to, I did childminding. Actually, childminding was quite some time ago. I became a certified childminder, just trying my hand at all sorts of different things. Did that for a little bit, helped people with that as well. That was amazing. And now I'm coaching and consulting. I must say coaching and consulting is a thread that has been prevalent throughout everything I've done. And I guess the reason why I like it, as I said earlier on, I'm a serial investor in people. I love to give back to people. I love to make a difference in the lives of people that I come across. And so that's what coaching and consultancy helps me to do. So I understand that the Brook Business Network, you've already had 2 sessions already, which is amazing. The first one looking at how you can thrive in a recession, and that's fantastic. And the second one, just in terms of, getting your ideas down, developing those ideas and putting your business plan in place. And that's really amazing. And I think that today is really, really great for you because you've already got an idea in terms of how you can thrive in a recession. And you've got an idea in terms of what you need to do to develop your ideas, to start your business plans. But there might be something that's holding you back. Very likely there's something that's holding you back. Sometimes we come on sessions like this and we hear what we've always heard and we do nothing with it. And sometimes it's more than just hearing. Sometimes it's about the mindset. In fact, often it's about the mindset. And that's why I'm glad to be here speaking about how we can shift from a poverty mindset into an abundance mindset, because that is where we need to be. So essentially, I'll be talking about various things today, but there are 3 key areas. The first one is looking at a poverty mindset. Exactly what is it? And do you have a poverty mindset? And it will shock you to find that the majority of people who have a poverty mindset don't actually know that they have a poverty mindset. Then we're going to be looking at how to have an abundant mindset. What is an abundance mindset, and how can I acquire an abundance mindset? And then from there, we will be looking at how we can make the shift from poverty to abundance. And I've got 7 exercises which you can start to engage in right now from today to begin to make that difference. And I hope that resonates with you and you'll take something away from that. So I've got some questions for you. And I generally do these sessions. I love interaction. I love people to speak back to me because I don't want it to be like I'm just lecturing you. I feel like when we're interacting, you're learning something and I can flow with you, etc. And I know we're going to have questions at the end, but this is my turn to ask you questions. I want you to think deeply about the questions that I'm going to ask you, right? I'm going to take my time. I know I speak a bit fast sometimes, but I'm going to take my time. Okay, so the first question I've got for you today, I don't think I can see you. I'll see if I can see your comments, but if you want to answer in the comments, that's great. The first question is, do you feel like you got enough sleep this morning? So when you woke up this morning, did you feel like, oh, that's amazing, I had great sleep, that was fantastic? Or do you feel like, oh, I'm tired, that it wasn't enough, I didn't have enough hours to sleep, I need more time to sleep? How did you feel about the sleep that you had last night? I can see someone said plenty. I can only see one, I think. Yeah, but how did you feel about your sleep when you woke up this morning? Right? The second question I have for you is, did you have enough time through the day? So since you woke up, right up until this moment that we're in now, do you feel you've had enough time to do the things that you needed to do? Or do you feel like there just wasn't enough time to get it all done? Someone says not at all. Oh, someone says they needed more sleep. Good, good, good. The next question I have for you is, what is your concept of time generally? So are you of the school of thought that 24 hours is enough? Or do you feel like 24 hours is just not enough? It's not enough. I need more time in my day. Right? Next question I've got is, do you go to sleep at night feeling as if to say you have accomplished your task for the day? Or do you go to sleep feeling like you failed? Like, I had 10 things to do, I only got to do 2 of them. Oh my goodness me. How do you feel when you go to sleep at night? Generally, because every day is different, right? So just generally. Cool, I'm seeing your responses. Not enough time, didn't get enough rest, didn't get much sleep, etc., etc. Someone needed more time. Okay, fabulous, great. Now, when you think about the glass, and I don't have a glass with me, otherwise I would have shown this to you, do you see the glass as half full or half empty? Do you see the glass as half full or half empty? 2 more questions to go. The next question is, do you feel like in life there is more than enough resources, etc., all the things we need? Or do you feel like it's just about enough? Just there. Cool. Someone says half empty on the glass. Someone says half full. And then my final question for you today is, do you believe that you have everything you need to get going in life? Or do you feel like you need more? Right? And I've got a quote I'm just going to read to you before I tell you what some of the answers. And the quote simply is on your screen right now. It says, we start off the morning thinking we didn't get enough sleep. We go through the day thinking we don't have enough time. And we fall asleep thinking we failed to accomplish enough tasks. Whatever we do or whatever we get in life, generally, it's never enough. So if I go back to the questions that I asked, most people will say they felt like they didn't have enough sleep. Most people will say they didn't get to do the things they wanted to do completely in the day. Most people will say that 24 hours just simply isn't enough for, the day. Most people will say that they went to bed feeling like they didn't necessarily achieve everything they wanted to do for the day. A lot of people will say that they see the glass as half empty. rather than half full. Some people will say there's just enough in a day, but it's not more than enough. And some people will say, they don't have everything they need to get going. Now, I know that it may vary in terms of your answer, but if your answer was on the, it's not enough, I need more, I didn't get enough sleep, I don't have enough resources, I don't have enough time, that's potentially an indication that you have a poverty mindset. And this is why I said that a lot of people do have a positive mindset, but don't consider that they do. So I'm going to tell you two stories right now. And I want you to, as I'm telling the stories, I'm sure you begin to think about the story and what the lessons are and what it teaches you. So my first story is about a best friend. Now, imagine you have your BFF, your best friend forever. This person, they came into your life suddenly. And, when you ask them a question, they have the answers. When you've got a problem, they've got the solution. They're just like the oracle. They have everything you need. Whether you want to know what to wear today, they tell you. What business to start, they tell you. How to wear your hair, they tell you. What bus to get on, they tell you. What car to buy, what house, where to invest. They've just got all the answers. They're simply amazing. And in the process of time, they become your best friend. And what happens next is that they're just so great and your life is just transformed as a consequence of this person, that you invite the person to your house to come and live with you. And the person takes the offer and says, sure, I'll come and we'll live with you. And now the person is living in your house. And immediately the person comes to your house, you take them to a room. The room has no windows. It has only the door they enter by. And then you close the door behind your best friend and you lock the door. Now, you might be asking me, why would I do that, Debs? Why would I do such a thing? Well, this person has everything you need, right? You don't want to share them with anybody else. You don't want anybody else to have that information. You just want to have it to yourself because you've just been benefiting so much from this person that you simply don't want to share this person with anybody else. And so you take them to your house and you lock them in a room and nobody else can have access. Now, what happens to your best friend, right? What happens to your best friend in this moment? And I think the answer is pretty clear. Essentially, the wealth of information dries up, the person becomes distressed, stressed out, and will eventually die. And suddenly you have lost your best friend. That thing you've been relying on, you've lost it. Another story about a butterfly. Now you're out, it's a lovely summer day, you put your hand out and suddenly a butterfly, and hopefully you like butterflies. And if you don't, for this story, just pretend like you do. So there's this beautiful butterfly that lands on your hand. It's beautiful, it's amazing, it's so gorgeous. And you could stand there all day and admire this beautiful butterfly. And the wind blows a little bit, and so you curl your hand up just a little bit, just enough to keep this butterfly protected. But then suddenly, as you begin to look at this butterfly, you think about all the things you can do with this butterfly because it's so beautiful, and all the people you can share this butterfly with and tell them about this butterfly that you got. Maybe you can even make money from this butterfly. And so what do? You suddenly realize that this butterfly can fly away at any time. And so what do? You clench your fist together and you hold the butterfly so it doesn't fly away. And what happens? It gets squashed to death. And so in both scenarios, the very thing you were looking to keep suddenly is gone. You starved it. It's dead. And this is what a poverty mindset looks like. A poverty mindset wants to hoard and wants to hold on to that thing that they have. They don't want to let it go. They want it only for themselves. And my question is, are you like that? Do you have a poverty mindset? Let's have a look at some quotes and some definitions of what a poverty mindset actually is. And they're going to come up on the screen for you. So the first one says, a poverty mentality is one that influences behaviors consistent with beliefs that money should not be spent, opportunities are limited, and any risk at all is dangerous. Any success is temporary and non-replicable, and generally remaining in the back of the pack is the safest. And as I'm reading through these quotes and these mindset definitions, I want you to think, Have I ever felt like that? Have I felt like, maybe my money shouldn't be spent? Maybe I should just keep it. Maybe there's not enough opportunities in the world. Maybe taking a risk is dangerous. I want you to think about these things and think, where am I? I want you to be truthful to yourself. There's no one standing there. There's no one judging you, just you and yourself, because we have to move from a poverty mindset to having a mindset of abundance. Now, the second one says this. It says a poverty mindset generates the thinking that attaining wealth is impossible, that it can be done without effort. It's simply just going to happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, right? It's one that believes that there's some sort of special source. There's a lot that comes with being abundant. So, and it takes that special source for you to become wealthy. A poverty mindset can undermine your goals and drive the wealth that you are seeking to create away, unless you work to counteract that. Now, the next definition I've got on the screen there, evidence of a poverty or a scarcity mindset is when you are obsessed with a lack of something. And that's usually time or money, such that you can't seem to focus on anything else, no matter how hard you may try, right? So as we move on, I want you to think, do you have a poverty mindset? When you look at what we've been through already, do you have a poverty mindset? And I've already said many people do, but they don't even know it. But just be honest to yourself. In some of the questions I've asked you, the stories I've told, the definitions you've heard, I want you to think, wow, what area of my life can I change? Remember what Hazel said at the very beginning, that you have to have an open mind. And I often tell people that, an open mind is like a parachute. If it's closed, it's not going to work, right? So you need to have an open mind and check your learnings and check where you are. Now, having a poverty mindset might not be so obvious to you, but it's prevalent in the little things. It's prevalent in the what if this and what if that, and I'll never this and I'll never that. And that's the language of somebody who is plagued by a poverty mindset. So I'm a positive person, so I keep saying positive, but I mean poverty mindset. When you think that you're not smart enough, or you won't have enough money, or you're not going to get the right clientele for your business or your products, then it is potentially that you don't have the right mindset. Now, poverty mindset can be born out of your background. It could be as a consequence of your background, where you're coming from, your culture. It could be stirred up by fear, fear of the unknown, or perhaps you have strong false beliefs which have been developed over time. It could be as a consequence of limited beliefs that you have. For example, what do you believe about yourself? Are you constantly going around saying, well, I'm from a poor family, I'm from a single family, or I'm an orphan? So, so those are the excuses you give yourself for your poverty mindset, rather than allowing those excuses to become the reasons why you thrive and you have an abundant mindset. Your limiting beliefs can come as a factor of what other people say about you negatively, that you begin to believe about yourself and you entertain. You spend a lot of time meditating and mulling over what somebody else has said about you, right? Maybe you're constantly told you're not good enough, you don't have what it takes, and you begin to believe, well, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I don't have what it takes. And that impacts and instructs the outcomes that you receive. Maybe you even shared your ideas and your dreams with your 11 brothers, or whatever siblings you have, but you went ahead and shared it anyway with all these people, and then they laughed at you and they told you all the reasons why it could never happen and why it would never work. And maybe they tell you it's never been done before, or perhaps too many people are doing it, so you're not going to stand any chance, or you're not the right person. You just simply don't have the skills, you don't have the acumen, and you find that you're taking advice from people who haven't been there, who haven't, they haven't got anything successful in life, that they're building that on. And so someone with a poverty mindset, they allow those negative facts to control their thinkings. And it is your thoughts that become your words, that become your actions, and become your results. And my question to you today is, are you allowing negative facts to control your thoughts, like the news? Are you constantly listening to negative information? You listen to the news 24/7. You're on CNN, always listening to the news, and they haven't got anything good to tell you, because good news doesn't sell. Only bad news sells. They don't tell you about all the great things that's happening and all the people who are thriving in a recession and all the people who are making it work. Right? So are you moved by the fact that they tell you all these businesses are failing and we're in a recession and inflation is high and you're gonna have to pay more tax and da 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 da? In fact, if you have to pay more tax, you should be thankful that you're in a position to be able to pay more tax, because we often pray or we want more, but we're not willing to accept the consequences that come with having more. So as I said, I believe it is key. Our mindset really is about the way we think. Right? Having a poverty mindset is about your thoughts, the thoughts that you entertain, the stories that you tell yourself. And this is advanced over time by your attitudes, the words you speak over yourself, the words you declare over yourself, those self-fulfilling prophecies. I can't be this, I can't be that, I can't afford this, I'm never gonna have enough, and those actions, your actions are informed from your thought patterns. Here's one thing I always say: your actions will never betray your thoughts. And because your actions will never betray your thoughts, the results you get will level up. They will be commensurate to your thoughts. So my question is, what are you thinking about? What are you prophesying? What are those things that you entertain, you meditate upon about yourself, and you begin to believe about yourself? Right? Do you always see lack, or do you see abundance? Do you see what you have, or do you see what you don't have? Are you keen on being resourceful with the things that you have, or do you think, there's not enough resources? Now, a poverty mindset seeks to protect and keep what it deems that is not enough. It's not enough, so I want to keep it to myself. I want to keep it to myself. Rather than giving away what is not enough, invest in it so that more can come. Okay, so I've got another story or consideration for you here. Let's say you go into a restaurant. I heard about this restaurant called Hakkasan. So you go into this restaurant called Hakkasan. You have no idea, you've never been in there before, but someone says, go to that restaurant. It's an amazing restaurant. The people are great. The food is great. Just go there. You're going to have a great time. And so you go there, maybe you take a couple of friends with you and you say, it's on me. My friends have told me it's an amazing restaurant. You forgot to ask about the price, mind you. So you go to this amazing restaurant and you get there and it's exquisite. The place is beautiful. The people are lovely. The customer service is top notch. And the food, oh my goodness, it tastes amazing. Right? So you have this great experience and then you're ready to go. Your friend says, thanks, Coach Debs. Thanks for that amazing meal. Thanks for your it's been lovely spending time with you. You're so wonderful. And they give you a hug and they leave, and then you get the bill, you're ready to pay, and you cannot believe the digits that you are seeing. You're like, a plate of rice, 200 quid. What? So you're scared by the bill. You're like, my goodness me. And you have no choice, right? You've got to pay it. So you get the money and you pay the bill. But then what happens? You leave the restaurant. You forget about the good time you have. You forget about the food that you ate, the customer service, the amazing experience, the memories you've created, and suddenly you're overwhelmed by the bill. I cannot believe I've just parted with whatever it is, £500, $500 for a meal with 3 friends. I can't believe I could have been so useless. I can't believe I allowed myself to do this. I can't believe I listened to Betty when she told me to go to that restaurant. I can't believe this and I can't believe that. And your whole mood is shifted. And for the day, maybe even the week, perhaps even the month, all you can think about is how much you spent at Hakkasan restaurant, rather than thinking about all the great things and being grateful that you even had the money to pay and you have friends to come and share that experience with, and you had a top-notch experience. And that's one way to determine whether you have a poverty mindset. Do you allow money to have such a negative impact on you? Another way you can think about this is, say you have this great, sometimes you're just sitting down and suddenly this business idea is downloaded to you and you think, my goodness me. And you see all the possibilities that this business can bring your way. You are just, oh my goodness. You're so excited about it, right? The motivation is high and you're just like, I can do this. And then suddenly you begin to speak to people and you do your research in the wrong places and you find out all the cons and all the reasons why it won't work and all the reasons why you shouldn't do it and all the reasons why this and all the reasons why that. And then suddenly you decide that you're not going to run with that business anymore. This is the business that your blood was, you were so excited by it. And suddenly, because of what other people have said, you have allowed that to have a negative impact on you. And so these are things I want you to think about in terms of the way that you behave and the way that you respond to business and the way that you respond to other people's opinions and the things that they say to you. Do you allow it to draw you into that poverty mindset, that hoarding mindset? I've got to keep it all to myself, or not? Is your mind always in survival mode? Are you about getting by day to day? All you can think about is, how am I going to get by today? How am I going to get by today? How am I get by today? Or are you thinking about, how can I make a difference? How can I thrive? How can I be more gratuitous for the things that I have that I didn't even ask for, that are around me, right? These are the questions that you need to begin to ask yourself. So up on the screen, I'm just going to show you some poverty mindset examples for you to ask yourself the question whether or not you have a poverty mindset, because it's important that you know where you are. When you know where you are, you know what you need to do to move to where you need to be, right? So up on the screen there, we've got some examples, and I'll just go through them very quickly. You have a poverty mindset if you are constantly worried about money and always feeling like there's not enough. You have a poverty mindset if you're always saving. You're always saving for a rainy day. You are never spending and you are never investing. And so you miss out on life-changing opportunities. You have a poverty mindset if you're always believing that opportunities are limited and you make decisions only based on fear. You have a poverty mindset if you're always avoiding taking risks. You never want to take risks. So therefore you don't start in business, you don't invest, because guess what? It's dangerous. And so you don't do nothing, right? You have a poverty mindset if you're always thinking small. You're always thinking small with your business, with your life, with your health, with everything that concerns you. You're never thinking big. You're never thinking on a bigger scale. You have a poverty mindset if you stay safe and you are doing nothing. You stay safe, you're doing nothing. You're always looking for cheap alternatives. You don't go on holiday because, it's expensive. You don't buy that lovely outfit that you really, really, really want, that you've worked so hard and made so much money for, because, it's just expensive, right? You have a poverty mindset if you want to start a business and you're always thinking, they're not going to like my products. They're not going to like me. There's no customer base for me. There's no demand for my products. You haven't done no research. You haven't done anything. You haven't read any books, but you've just got this mindset that it's just not for you. You have a poverty mindset if you believe that your business will fail. They often say that in the first 3 years, most businesses fail. And so what? So what? Start anyway. At the top of this session, I told you about all the businesses that I've engaged in. Let me tell you, even from the list of businesses that I did, some of them were successful, some of them were not successful, some of them I lost money, but at least I have that experience behind me and I was able to take those lessons forward. If you fail, there's no shame in failing. Get yourself back up and get going again, right? It's a bit like they say, don't get married because in the first 5 years, if your marriage doesn't work, that's the end of it. So you don't get married. No, go with it anyway. Take that risk. If you don't, you have a poverty mindset. And then finally there, I've got you have a poverty mindset if you have a strong dislike of those who appear to be living the life of abundance and you desire it, but you dislike the fact that they have it. That is evidence that you have a poverty mindset. But guess what? It is time to break free from the poverty mindset. And if you've got your comments, I don't need to type in the comments, I am breaking free from a poverty mindset. Whether you are victim to everything I said, or it's just one thing that I said that you say, yeah, that's me. I am breaking free from a poverty mindset. I know it's a lot of words, but it is necessary. It is necessary. I am breaking, even me, Debbie, I am breaking free from a poverty mindset. I said sometimes it's based on your culture, your background. I wasn't from a rich background. I was from what I would term as poor, but actually it's not really poor when you think about the percentage of the people in the world who are actually poor, right? You have a roof over your head, you're not quite poor, yeah? But I am breaking free from a poverty mindset. And I want every single person to type that, because declarations are important when you're moving from a poverty mindset and you're moving to an abundant mindset. So we're going to flip it now. We're going to flip it and we're going to look at the abundance mindset. What is it? And I've got a quote there from Oprah Winfrey. And she says, be thankful for what you have. When you're thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. And if you concentrate on what you don't have, you'll never have enough. And so that's one key, is to be thankful. See, an abundant mindset believes that there is enough for everyone, and they are grateful. They are consistently grateful for the things they have. They choose to see the things they have rather than the things that they do not have. An abundance mindset believes in surplus and is always ready to give. An abundant mindset, someone who's abundant, is always ready to give. They're generous. They don't hoard. They don't keep things to themselves. They don't kill the butterfly. They don't lock up their best friend, right? Just like, there's this proverb in my language, my mother tongue, which is Yoruba, and it says that the birds in the sky fly without touching one another, right? The fish in the sea swim. There's more than enough space for them. And in the same way, someone who has an abundance mindset knows that there is space for me. If someone else is doing it, that's great. But I have my own way of doing it. I have my own stamp. Just because someone else is doing it does not mean I can't do it. Doesn't mean I can't learn from them, right? Someone who has an abundance mindset is always focused on what can I do with what I have? How can I share what I have? They're not thinking, oh my goodness me, it's going to finish, there's going to be none left. No, they keep on sowing that seed. They keep on giving, because they know that if they give what they have and they sow what they have, they're only going to get more coming back to them, right? Now, as a Kingdom Life coach, everything I do is based on biblical principles. And I just want to tell you about a story in the Bible. And there's a story in the Bible that talks about talents. And if you're a Christian, you'll find it in Matthew chapter 25. It's one of my favorite parables. And it talks about the master who goes on an excursion. He goes on a journey and he leaves his servants, right, in the house, and he leaves them looking after his goods. And he gives each of them something according to their abilities, called talents, right? And when he goes away, what happens? What do these three people do? Now we can see that two of them operate from an abundant mindset. They've been given something, but they're not afraid to take what they've been given, to sow it, to give it out, to invest it, and they receive more. And there's one who has the poverty mindset. And what does he do? Out of fear, he says, I'm afraid that my master, what does he do? He sows where he didn't plant, or what's the proverb he says? So he takes what he's been given and he buries it. And he does nothing with it. And when you do nothing with it, it's no surprise that it yields no return, right? So when you have a poverty mindset, you're going to yield no return. When you have an abundant mindset, that's why the parable, when it says, to everyone who has more will be given, and they will have in abundance. But from him who does not have, because he has a poverty mindset, even what he has will be taken away. And let me explain that in terms that maybe might be a bit more simple for you. Let's say I play the flute. I'm a great flute player. I've been playing it since I was since I was 4 years old, and I got to the age of 18. I was an amazing flute player. And then suddenly life happened and I forgot about my flute and I didn't play it anymore. I don't even know where it is. It's kind of dusty, it's rusty and all the rest of it. And then my friend comes some 30 years later and says, hey, Debs, oh my goodness me, are you still playing the flute? There's this amazing, fantastic opportunity I've seen. They're looking for a flute player. And when I looked and I thought about, all the people that I know that I play flute, I remember that you were a maestro. You were just so amazing. There's this opportunity, and Debs, it's just for you. And it's been 30 years since I picked up a flute. Do you think I'm going to play the flute the same way that I played it before? No, because I did not nurture my talent, what I had, right? In the same way, we've got to nurture the gifts that we have, even our mindset. Your mindset is, I want to call it a gift. What are you doing? Are you renewing your mind, or are you allowing your mind to become the devil's playground and all sorts of weed is growing there and nothing great is happening there? It is time to move from a poverty mindset to an abundant mindset, because to whom much is given, and everything you need is already inside of you. So to whom much is given, right, much is expected, right? Now, someone with an abundant mindset believes that success is achievable and can be replicated. And I want you to take some time later, maybe go through this video again, and I want you to turn all of these things into declarations that you can say over yourself. You can start to speak and believe. You can say, I believe success is achievable and can be replicated. I mean, it might take too long for you to type all of that in the chat, right? But it would be nice if you can come back, listen to this video again, and write out declarations, even make your own up, right? Someone who has an abundant mindset believes that their values, their talents, their products, and their services are in strong demand. Somebody somewhere needs it. They believe that. Someone who has an abundant mindset is able or is willing to handle whatever situation comes their way. They believe they'll be successful, but even if they're not, they believe they're resilient enough to bounce back. And for some of us, COVID taught us a lesson or two, right? The pandemic taught us a lesson or two. Because what happened is suddenly, everything that we relied upon was stripped away. You had to become resilient in that time, right? In order to survive and maybe even thrive and make a difference, you had to become resilient. So guess what? You've got what it takes. You have got what it takes. And actually, that's not too much for you to type in the comments. Type, I have got what it takes. Sorry, I'm a coach. I do this all the time. I have got what it takes. I would like you, if you believe it, type it in the chat. I have got what it takes. I have got what it takes. It's key to breaking the poverty mindset. I have got what it takes. I have got what it takes. Someone who has an abundant mindset, believes in the abundant life, and looks for the limitless opportunities in the moment rather than letting the limits hold them back. They are focused on the limitless opportunities and not the limits that hold them back. Great. So, do you have an abundant mindset? Do you have an abundant mindset? You have an abundant mindset if you're able to see beyond the limits to the limitless potential that is in you and that is around you. You have an abundant mindset if you're able to celebrate the success of other people. You're not jealous. You don't do it because you're afraid. You willingly, truly celebrate them. Their success does not, that their success does not detract from your own success, because we all have our unique purpose and no one can do what you do like you do it. Nobody, even if they're doing in the same business, no one can do what you do the way that you do it. You have an abundant mindset if you're generous and you love to give, and you give willingly and you give freely and you give with a cheerful heart, rather than thinking, oh, how can I get more? And how can I get more? And how can I get more? You're free to give out not just your money, but you're free to give out your time, your energy, your skills, your possession. You're always looking out for other people. You're always taking care of other people. That is evidence of a mindset. And I believe that some of us, we have some strains of an abundant mindset, but we need to grow it. We need to grow it, right? You have an abundant mindset if you are present in the present. You are present in the present. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that you're not held back by the mistakes or the failures of the past. You're not concerned with the potential drawbacks even of the future. You are present now. You are working now. You believe that abundance is now. You're not saying the abundance, I'm going to be abundant tomorrow. No, you are abundant now. With what you have, you are abundant right now. And you believe that you continue to grow in abundance as the days continue to proceed. Right? So we've gone through what a poverty mindset looks like. We've now looked at what an abundant mindset looks like. Let's have a look at the two, a quick comparison, and hopefully you can see that on the screen. But it's useful for you to have a look at this. And it says scarcity, but it's literally more or less the same. Whether you have a scarcity mindset or poverty mindset is the same. And this was put together, but it's curated from a guy called Michael Hyatt, who is an amazing guy. He's got a podcast, which is worth listening to. He talks a lot about gratitude and abundance, right? And just there on the screen, you can see someone who has a scarcity mindset believes that there's not enough, whereas someone who has an abundant mindset believes that there is more, where that came from, right? So have a quick look through that chart and say, where do I sit on this chart? Where do I sit? Am I stingy with what I have, or am I generous? Do I give freely, right? Do I think small or do I think big? Am I pessimistic or am I optimistic? Do I feel entitled and am I always fearful, or am I thankful and confident in myself? I'd like you to think about that. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. And like I said, come back to this video, do yourself a favor. You see, when you come back and you listen back to some of the teachings that you have on here and wherever it is you're learning from, you're not doing the Brook Business Network a favor, right? You're not doing the Brook Place a favor. You're doing yourself a favor. You are investing time in yourself to grow yourself so that you can become a better version of yourself, so that you can make a difference in this world, so that you can operate from an abundant mindset, so you can have all that you need to have to keep on moving. You can be appreciative of the things you have and then continue to grow that. So we're going to move on, but you can come back, snapshot the page, go through it, do a self-assessment just in terms of that. Cool. So as we move on, I want to look at the relation to money, because often when we think about poverty, we think about abundance, we always think about money, right? We always think it's got to do with money. And I hope that from what I've shared so far, you can see that it's not just about money. It's not, to be honest, it's a myth that's about money. It's about the way you think. It's about your mindset. It's as a man thinks, so is he. Are you thinking in a positive way, a poverty way, or are you thinking in an abundant way, right? Your mindset is not informed by how much money you have in the bank, but your mindset is informed by your internal beliefs about money and some of the other things that we have already talked about. So here are some questions again for you on the screen. First being, do you believe that there's enough for you to make the money that you need to succeed? There is enough for you to make the money that you need to succeed. Do you believe that there are enough ideas out there for you to thrive? Right? And finally, do you believe that even if someone else is doing what you want to do or what you want to start to do, that you can still succeed doing it, and you can leverage the success of those who have gone before you? You can even collaborate, you can complement one another in business because you bring your unique touch to the table. See, those with an abundant mindset they don't have money issues. It is those that have a poverty mindset that have money issues. And regardless of how much money you have, you can have an abundant mindset. And this is the reason why, when I talk about money, this is the reasons why you can see someone who wins the lotteries, they win millions, and they lose it all tomorrow. And you're thinking, that don't make no sense. If that was me, I would have done this, I would have done that, I would have done that. But you've only done the right thing if you have an abundant mindset. If you have a poverty mindset, that money will leave you as quickly as it found you, right? So it's more than money. That's why, you can earn 20K today, and tomorrow you could be earning 120K, and you can still be stingy, and you can still be hoarding things, and you're not generous with the things that you have. So, because some people will say, when I have more money, I'll be better, I'll be more generous, I'll be more giving, I'll be more loving. It's a lie. It's what you do now with what you have that determines what you're going to do later with what you get later, right? So abundance has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with luck. It has nothing to do with chance. What you believe about money, what you believe about poverty or abundance is what will make it work for you. Right? An abundant person is someone who looks for opportunities to invest in, because they know that in doing so, they are opening up wells of prosperity. They're not hanging about, sitting down, waiting for prosperity to fall on them. No, they're going around there. They are actively looking for places to invest their money, for places to make a difference, so that they can open up wells of prosperity, not just for themselves, but for the world around them. Right. So I do believe that fear has a part to play, just in terms of poverty mindset and an abundant mindset based on where you're coming from. But there's two things I want us to realize. The first is that our entire perspective can change when we realize that our feelings, which includes fear, they're just indicators. They are not dictators. They should not be dictating how we behave. Right? They can indicate where your heart is in the moment, but that doesn't have the right for them to dictate your behavior or boss you around. So in the moment you were in the restaurant and you spent money you didn't expect to spend, you can acknowledge it, but you can say, you know what, there's more where that came from. It's okay. I had a great time. It's great to spend time. Maybe I would have never experienced something like this if I didn't come into this restaurant and have a great meal and spend time with friends and know what it's like to give the best customer service. Because maybe when I start my own business, I'll know what people feel like when you give them great customer service. Right. And it's also about self-control. When you're able, there's this gift called self-control, and you can exercise the gift of self-control by the way you let your feelings dictate or indicate things to you. The second thing I want to say is that an abundant mindset is not about repressing your feelings or living in a state of denial, but you acknowledge the fact, you're conscious of the truth, and you let that be your guiding force. You make an overarching or a conscious decision to be thankful and to live in a beautiful state, no matter what happens. So I've got on the screen there that the way our mindset can actually have an impact on our decision making. Now, if you have a poverty mindset, it is likely that decisions are made out of fear. We just talked about fear, not because of that the opportunity doesn't exist, the opportunity is there, but because you're afraid. So you want to protect what you have, you want to control the outcome, and so you don't necessarily make the right decisions in the moment. You might end up doing business with the wrong people or losing the money that you had anyway. People go and make investments based out of fear, and then they lose the money that they invested anyway, the little money that they were trying to protect. Right? And when you have a poverty mindset, you are quickly sucked into what looks like a good opportunity. It's a cheap one, a good opportunity. Yeah, let's get into this. Those are the kind of people that do a lot of impulse buying things they don't need because it's cheap, but they don't actually need it. It's not making a difference in their life. It's not adding any value. So your mindset can impact the way you make decisions. For example, you might feel that you're quickly burnt out and you're exhausted because you're running around trying to keep that little that you have, and you're trying to engage people and businesses that are not the right fit for you, simply because you don't want to miss out on the opportunity of that moment. Right? And what happens is there are many crooks out there who take advantage of people who have a poverty mindset. They're skilled in identifying those kind of people and then tailoring their services to those kind of people, unfortunately. Right? If you have a poverty mindset, then you're afraid of stepping out, you're afraid of taking risks. And what happens is you miss the good opportunities that are come before you. And if you have a poverty mindset, that can also impact your decision making, because then you keep on making safe decisions. And the thing about safe decisions is that it keeps you stuck in your comfort zone, and nothing grows in your comfort zone. In fact, everything starves and suffocates in your comfort zone, including your potential, including your dreams, your business ideas, your future even, right? So we don't want that to happen. Now, people tend to struggle because their subconscious mind is not programmed correctly. Some of us have grown up hearing things like money doesn't grow on trees, and the love of money is the root of all evil, and all of those idioms that we hear that just doesn't help us at all. But it's time for us to begin to reprogram our mind. You see, abundance is simply a common sense approach to prosperity and success. See, the truth is this, and I say this all the time, you have everything inside of you that you need to be great, to be successful, to thrive, right where you are, to start that business, to do whatever it is you want to do. The only thing that stands in your way as a potential obstacle is your mind, your mindset, your subconscious mind. If you are not aware of your true potential, then any attempts to achieve it will be blocked by the way you think, which will always create doubt. It will create fear whenever you see a potential obstacle coming your way. But once you remove once you remove the negative thoughts and the negative feelings and the feelings of fear, then your subconscious mind can then become receptive to positive actions and ideas that allow for abundance. Great. So what happens when we stay in a positive mindset, when we entertain a positive mindset and we stay in a positive mindset? And I've just gone through that, so I'll just switch to the next slide. And I've just got some things on the screen. What happens? So this is really just to push you into having an abundant mindset, to push you out of where you are into where you need to be. Right now, what happens is you cannot be all that you've been created to be when you operate from a poverty mindset. Instead, what happens is you live as half of the person that you were meant to be. You become a shadow of your true self, of your potential, right? If you operate in a poverty mindset, you will struggle to fulfill purpose. It's not a curse. It's fact. It's the truth. You will struggle to fulfill purpose, and you will not be able to realize your full potential. And you will live in survival mode all the time. You'll miss out on thriving in life. You miss out on thriving in business. And this can have a negative impact on other areas of your life, like your health, for example. Right? If you stay with a poverty mindset, what you will find is that you are depriving other people. And that in itself is enough. It should be enough to move you. If you stay in a poverty mindset, if you stay where you are, if you don't seek to become more abundant in your thinking, you are depriving those people who need what you have. There is a bunch of people out there that need what you have, and you are depriving them when you embrace poverty and you let it beat you like a pandemic. It's time for you to get up and determine that I'm going to have an abundant mindset. When you have a poverty mindset, you pass on the wrong message to the next generation, especially your children. And finally, it becomes impossible for you to leave a meaningful impact. And so the question is this: will history know that you are here? Will history know that you are here? Now, here's a slide that I often like to share in some of my classes. And it's my coach, one of my mentors, John Maxwell, says this. He says, be a river. Seek to be a river, not a reservoir. And on the screen there, you can see the difference, right? A reservoir is man-made. It squashes life. It squashes life. It's dark, it's lifeless, it has nothing to flow into and will suffocate whatever life remains, right? A reservoir adds value only to itself, taking in the water to fill itself. It doesn't take in water for anybody else, it just takes in water for itself. A reservoir is a symbol of lack and limitation. However, a river is made by God himself. A river promotes life. You see, the banks provide fertile land for crops and other plants and foliage. A river adds value to other people. It flows. Whatever it gives, it receives, and it's always giving away, and it operates from a level of abundance. So are you a river or are you a reservoir? Type that in the chat. If you're a river, type river. If you're a reservoir, type reservoir. And I'm hoping that nobody here today is a reservoir. And if you were before, I'm believing that your mindset is changing. You are moving from poverty to abundance, and you are no longer a reservoir. You are now a river. You are now a river. Right, cool. So it is time for us to shift from poverty to abundance. And to do so, you have to choose abundance. Choosing abundance means that you choose to be free. It means you don't resent missed opportunities. You don't have the fear of missing out, or FOMO as they call it. You're not afraid of the future. You give more. You're always giving. You're seeking to outgive everybody else. You're so generous, and you're being transformed as you embrace change. So as we shift to abundance, it's time to raise you out of poverty. It's time to rise out of poverty, to change the way you think so that you can live in abundance, right? You cannot live in abundance if you have impoverished thoughts. You've got to be intentional and you've got to commit to change. So as we begin to round up, I did say at the very beginning, I've got 7 exercises for you that you can begin to do right now. It's not enough for you to just listen to this, right? Even though I want you to listen. And it's not enough for you to go listen to the replay, even though I want you to do that. And I want you to do it again and again and again, and even share this live with other people, right? But you have to be intentional. You have to take action. And so I want you to commit to doing at least one of these things today. One of these exercises today. There are 7. So if you do one every day of the week, that's great. And you can continue to do one every day of the week, but at least do one today, and commit to doing another one, maybe tomorrow, at least 3 by the end of the week, right? So the first exercise is this. You have to exchange your limiting belief for an empowering belief. And I should say empowering, right? So how do you do that? This is what you do. First of all, you identify, what are my limiting beliefs? And as a coach, I help people do this. You might have a coach or a mentor, someone who can help you to identify your limiting beliefs, because sometimes it's not obvious to you what your limiting beliefs are. So identify what your limiting beliefs are. And once you know what they are, you can begin to rewrite them as empowering beliefs. So rather than, I don't have enough, I have more than enough, or I have enough to achieve what I need to achieve in this moment. So you've got your negative or your limiting belief, and then you've got your empowering belief. So you're taking action by changing it from a limiting belief to an empowering belief, right? The next exercise I want you to do, is on the screen. I want you to think, I want you to conduct a thoughts analysis. Essentially, what I mean is think about what you're thinking about, right? As a man thinks, we say, so is he. So what is a thoughts analysis? A thoughts analysis is simply you just sit down, start with 15 minutes, get a pen and a paper or a book, a notepad, something, and just be true to yourself and write down every thought that enters your head, no matter how mad it sounds, no matter how unreal it is, no matter how negative it is, no matter how positive it is, just write them all down. And my coach taught me this. Just write down everything that comes to your head in that moment, in that 15 minutes. Set a timer if you have to, and just write. Be honest, be true to yourself. And then once you've done that, have a look at what you've written, and it will shock you the thoughts that come into your mind just in the space of 15 minutes. You can do this for 30 minutes, you can do it for an hour. But the key is to be true to yourself and write down. And then you can now begin to question your thoughts, question your thinking process. Ask yourself, do those thoughts, do they move you closer towards your dream and your business aspirations, or do they hold you back? And then when you know that, you can begin to make changes. And I think those two exercises are very simple. You can do even both of them today. Cool. The next thing I've got there, the next exercise you can do is around gratitude. Now, contentment and gratitude helps you to see the beauty in the things and the opportunities that are around you. So this is what you do. Every single day, you write down 10 things that you're grateful for. So today is Monday. I'm going to write 10 things that I'm grateful for. But the challenge is this. Tomorrow, when you do this exercise, you build upon the 10 things you've written. You write another 10 things that you're grateful for. But this time, you must not repeat anything you've already said in the first 10, right? The next day, you do it again. Every day, you're teaching yourself to be more gratituous, to identify or to be aware of those things around you that you have, to have that abundant mindset. So every day, think of 10 new things you are grateful for. And by the end of a 30-day month, you have 300 things to be grateful for. And it will shock you what things you'll be grateful for. You actually begin to become creative as the challenge pushes you to think beyond what you've already written. Okay? The next thing I want you to think about, or the next exercise that you can engage in, is this. When you think about money, what are 3 words that come to mind? Write them down immediately. Write them down immediately. Maybe you can do that now. When you think about money, what's 3 words that come down? Write them down immediately. If you want to share it in the chat, go ahead and share it in the chat. But just write 3 things that come to your mind. So that might be power. It could be anxiety. It could be fear. It could be greed. It could be poverty. It could be choice. It could be freedom. It could be security. Anything, whatever words that come to your mind, write them down. And then once you've written them down, I want you to assess them. If they are negative words, if they're words like greed or poverty or anxiety, I want you to start to question why. Why do you have those thoughts about money? So that we can get to the root of the problem. And then once you've done that, have another go. And this time, be intentional about writing 3 positive words, whether you believe them or not. Just write them down. And once you've got your 3 positive words about money, I want you to write them everywhere. Put them on post-it notes in your room, put them on your fridge, put them in a book, on your phone, on your social media, put them everywhere, right? And then when you do that, that helps you to begin to think differently about money, to think more abundantly. So, and I've actually got there what 3 words come to mind when you think about money. You can also do the same thing when you think about abundance, because as we've said, abundance is more than just money. Cool. Just one moment. So next, we've got 4 things. Number 6. Sorry, not number 6. Number 5. Tell yourself a new story to reframe your thoughts. Right? So the truth you believe, what is the truth you believe about yourself? Remember earlier when we talked about self-fulfilling prophecy. So whatever negative stories you've been telling yourself before, it's time to turn that around and begin to take control of your future and start to tell yourself positive things about yourself, tell yourself positive things about money. So how does your future look like when you're living a life of abundance? What have you achieved? How are you interacting with money in this your new life of abundance? What are your beliefs around poverty and abundance? I want you to become that future person now. And you become that future person now by identifying where you are in the future with this amazing, abundant mindset and wealth. You write out your story, and then you begin to refrain your mind from now, believing that to be true about yourself. Number 6 is a favorite. positive declarations. So again, the 3-word strategy might help. When you've got your new words, you can build those into declarations that you say over yourself. I've spoken about declarations earlier on. I've talked about going back to this video and writing out some of those declarations and declaring those things over yourself so that they become your reality, so that you reprogram your subconscious mind, which can be an obstacle if it's not programmed correctly. Okay, so some of the things, if you're a person of faith, there are many declarations in the Bible that you can use, or there are things like, I have everything I need, I have more than enough, money is a tool, my feelings are indicators and not dictators. And then number 7, a favorite of mine, is read books on money, read books on business, read book on abundance, read books on wealth transformation. So here are some of the books I just took off my bookshelf that you might want to have a look. This is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, his favorite amazing book. Here's another one. It's called You're a at Making Money by Jen Sincero, right? Here's another one which will help to reframe the way you think. It's called Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Lose by John Maxwell. And here's one I just got recently. This lady talks about money and abundance all the time. Her name is Denise Duffield Thomas, and it's called Chill and Prosper, right? So those are books. Obviously, if you're a person of faith, you're a Christian, the Bible has amazing principles on money, on abundance. You can start in the book of Proverbs. But in addition to that, expand your reading. Get some of these books, or go and do your own research and find books that you can read to help you. I believe my mentor, John Maxwell, says this. He says, success leaves clues, and those clues can be found in the books. They can be found in the experience of those who have gone before you. Listen, it's important for us to embrace a growth mindset. If we're going to make a difference, if we're going to be prosperous, we need to embrace a growth mindset. We need to be intentional about growing our mind. We can do that through the books we read, rather than entertaining a fixed mindset that just wants to remain in poverty, doesn't want to change, and does not want to grow. It is time for, as I round up, I just want you guys to know this, right? It is time for you to begin to learn to walk on water. Walk on water. Tell your friend, walk on water. And if you're still with me, I'd love for you to type in the comments, walk on water. And what do I mean when I say walk on water? The fact of the matter is, when you walk on water, sometimes you might feel like you're drowning, and perhaps sometimes you do lose your footing. You fall in the water, but you can swim back to shore and start again. When I say walk on water, what I mean is this: take risks, step out. When you walk on water, we know about the abundance of water, right? There's no end to it. It's all around you. So take risks, step out and embrace a growth mindset, embrace an abundant mindset, and begin to learn to walk on water. Because a lot of what I've shared with you is not going to be easy. It sounds great when we talk about it and everyone's excited, but actually going and doing the work takes a lot. It takes walking on water. And if you need to, and I always encourage it, get yourself a coach, get yourself a mentor, get yourself an accountability partner, get yourself to help you along the way. The reason why I believe in getting a coach is you can get yourself an accountability partner who's a friend, and that's great, and they may help you along the way. But sometimes you need someone who's not going to stroke your ego and make you feel like, yeah, it's okay, Debs, you'll be all right. You need someone who's going to give you a kick and say, come on, let's do this. It's time for you to step out of that poverty mindset. It's time for you to arise and to own what God has given you. So as I'm closing, I just want you to think about, this is a business. This is the Business Brook Network, and we're looking at all things business. So we just want to see how this translates to making it in business. And I've just got there just a very quick overview of what you can do to make this work for you in business. So the first thing, and this is something that I do in my business coaching, is have an ideas bank. Literally what that means is just writing down you have one book where you write all your ideas. You're constantly writing any ideas that come to your mind, no matter how crazy they sound, no matter how big they sound, no matter how unachievable they sound, no matter how impossible they sound, you write them all down. The next step is you take one, just pick one. Focus is key, right? We can't do everything all at once. We're not God. So pick one thing and decide that you're going to work on that one thing. And then think about the success of the business. See it, experience it, make your reality, as you visualize it, right? And then read books in line with that subject. As I said, success leaves clues. So find books that talk about that area, that business, that idea that helps you to grow it. And then next, Find people who have succeeded in your area, people who you can speak to. You know, they're generally mentors who can tell you, yeah, I've done this and this is how you can also do it. Thank God we live in a virtual world where YouTube is your friend. There's so much you can learn on YouTube, but find real people as well that you can sit down with, that you can speak to, that can help you, show you the ropes, you know, give you some of the lessons that they've learned along the ways. Then the next thing I've got there is build skills. It's important for you to build skills. You can't, you know, a skill might simply be as simple as communication, speaking in front of a large crowd, maybe presenting your business idea, whatever it is, you need to build those skills. Next, I've got get an accountability partner, or preferably a coach. And then finally, it goes without saying, it is great to have a mindset. But if you have an abundant mindset, trust me, your abundant mindset will push you to action. So it is important that you take action. It's important that you take action as well. So just as I end, I just wanted to share with you that these are I'm not just sharing these things. These are things that have worked for me in business. I remember when I got my first coach a few years back, probably about quite a few years back now, and not my very first coach, but I got another coach after. And when I started working with that coach, I went to him because I wanted business coaching and I wasn't getting business coaching, and I was beginning to get agitated because I wasn't getting business coaching. I was doing a lot of reading of books and, you know, a lot of learning this and that and the other, but it wasn't business coaching. But then one day I was driving my car and everything just clicked, because I suddenly in that moment realized that what he was doing was he was working on my mindset. So all these books that I was reading, all these masterminds and these masterclasses that I was attending, all these things that he was asking me to do that I was doing was reframing and resetting my mind. And suddenly everything made sense. And I was so excited. I remember my next meeting with him, and I was so excited to get to the meeting and say, hey, coach, guess what happened? And before I could even say anything, he says, right, Debs, now I think you're ready for business coaching. I was like, oh my goodness. So he had worked on my mindset through the books I read and through the activities and the exercises he gave me, and until I got to a place where I was ready, for business coaching, so that I can also thrive in my business. Because I went to him because I saw him thriving in his business, and I was thinking, how can I do the same? But it wasn't until that work was done on my mind that I then began to thrive in business. And, obviously I've done many businesses before I met him. Some of them were good, some of them were not so good, but that really, really helped me. And the other thing I want to say is invest in yourself. Someone who has an abundant mindset, invest. They spend money on your mind. You see, they say a mind is it is a terrible thing to waste. Right? And wasting your mind, if you don't build your mind, if you don't nurture your mind, if you don't inform your mind, you are wasting your mind. So invest money, spend money on books, spend money on courses, spend money on things that grow your mind. Too much so we are involved, or we get drawn into dressing the external and making the external look good. But true beauty is internal, and that comes from your mind. So spend time on your mind. That's how you move it from a poverty mindset to an abundant mindset. Now, I hope you have gained lots of value from today's session. I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in. I want to say thank you for your comments and thank you for your sharing. It has been absolutely awesome. We're not done yet. I'm sure Hazel will come back on right now just to maybe, do some closing things. But I just want to say thank you. It has been amazing. I've seen some of the interaction in the chat. I love interaction. So thank you for doing that. And more than anything, make a commitment to yourself that you're going to do something to move you more towards having an abundant mindset, so that you can get out of this poverty mindset. You can begin to make a difference, make an impact, and serve the people that require what you have. Thank you very much for listening. Back to Hazel, who I believe is somewhere in the back.
I'm like, wow. Wow. I feel like I have gone to the hammam, the sauna, the nail bar, the hair bar, the skin bar. I feel like I feel clean, girl. I feel clean. Like my mindset has just gone through some whistle stop tour on cleaning it up. You are amazing. We give God all the praise for you. The day that God placed you in your mama's womb was the day that Satan knew you were coming for him, because you were going to restore people's minds. You're amazing. And I mean, there were so many nuggets, but I've got 3 here that blew me. I was speaking in tongues. My husband had to run in the room to find out if I was okay. It was crazy up inside my house here in Surrey. But the first one that just like blew me off my chair was, you have everything inside you that you need to be the best you, right?
Mm.
And immediately you said that, the Lord reminded me years ago, right, when I was going through one of those pity party things that we all go through at some time in our life. The Lord said to me that you have everything inside of you. I put it there. And the reason that you are in pain right now is because God, is mining the nuggets out of your mind.
Mm.
So we need to see ourselves as if like we are a mine, a gold mine. That's
Yeah.
generally what we are. God sees each of his children as gold mines. And there comes times in our walk and in our life when we need to go from the step that we are on to the next step. And sometimes those steps are big, massive leaps. And then when the pain comes, as you are beginning to just glean from the mindset, move that mindset, turn that mindset around, it's painful. I mean, as you said, it's easy to say in a live, but actually living it and walking it each day, it's painful. And at that point, when it's painful, that's the point that we know that God is on board and he is mining the gold mine that he created you to be. That just blew me. It blew me. Honestly, you don't know what you've done this evening, sis. And then the other one that I've written down here, will history know that you've been here? Honestly, honestly, will history know that you have been? Oh my days. That is going down in my next book that I'm writing. Okay, will history know? Oh my God. According to Debbie Akinkunle, did
Yes,
history know that you have?
that you
Oh
were
my God,
here.
that's amazing. And then the next one, being transformed as you embrace change. We can't be transformed unless we embrace change. We have
That's right.
got to stop running away from pain and stop blaming Satan for the pain. It's not every pain is Satan, as our dear Apostle Oscar keeps teaching us. It is not everything that we can put down to. Stop accrediting Satan for the things that God has allowed to happen in your life in order to shift your mind, in order to shift you out of the mud that you have dug yourself into. Oh my sis, I just want to, oh wow. I really wish we were in the same room right now. I just want to hug you and just plaster you with kisses. Okay, so we have some questions. And the first one is, what to do if all your friends and family live with a poverty mindset and you still live with them?
So what I'd say is, and that's a great question. So thank you to whoever asked that question. It's a great question. But what I'd say is, the fact of the matter is that you can only control your behaviors. You can only control the way you think, and you cannot control the way other people think or the things they say or the things they do. And you have just got to remain in the right mindset. What you can do is you can speak words of declaration, positive words over them. If they are constantly negative, they're constantly, having this poverty mindset, you can tell them that, I'm really trying not to think like that. I'm in a different frame of mind. And if you feel that way, that's fine. But please don't share those thoughts with me. So you can actually address it head on. And if you find that it's negative, a lot of what I do is if people speak negative around me and people generally know that I'm a positive person, but I will say, I would immediately reject it. I would immediately speak something positive. They say, you're not enough. I say that I know that I'm more than enough. And I'm going to show you that I'm more than enough. And actually, I'm excited about my future. And I know you're not excited right now, but you will be excited when I get there. And don't worry, I'll take you along for the ride. It's really just, using that to speak to them and they think, oh, whatever, she's all up on herself. It's okay. Yes, I'm up on myself because I know what's ahead of me. I know what I'm going for. I know I'm going to be abundant and you're going to live to see it, So it's really just about choosing to remain. You can only control the things that you can control, which is your thoughts, the words you speak, how you behave. Thank God nowadays we have merchandise with positive words on them. You can have that all around you. You can you can surround yourself with positivity. Let people know that that's what you're about. So even if they say, oh, she's always on about her positive malarkey, it's okay. At least they know, so when they come, they know you're going to reject it, or they know you're going to speak back and say positive words over them. Even if they say something negative, I'm more than enough, and so you, darling, whatever it is, but you must not allow the opinions and the thoughts of other people to become your reality. Because what a lot of people tend to do is they tend to begin to mull over it, and they meditate over it, and then they begin to believe it's true. Right. And that's why we can't. And that's why it's good to continue to grow your mind and inform yourself. I know that sometimes, you can't exactly move yourself away from that, because if you live with them, it's very difficult, especially if it's a spouse or a sibling or something. But let them know what you stand for. Just by the books. I mean, people come into my office and they see my books, and they know what I'm about. They see me reading, they see the things I post, they see the classes I teach, and all those great things. So let people know what you stand for, and just be determined that whatever they think and whatever they say, it's not going to be your reality.
Wonderful. That's an excellent answer. Okay, and then the next question is, what is the first step after deciding to change your mindset? What is the next practical step?
So after you've decided that you want to, like, say you've listened to this and you've decided, I want to change my mindset, I've had enough of the way that my life has been up until now. It's time for me to embrace that abundant mindset. Now, I've given you some exercises that you can do, and I suggest that you go through those exercises, you write them down, you can do one a day or whatever the case is. I think it's important to get somebody who can help you, like a coach or an accountability, somebody who knows about these things, who can teach you in the right way. So like I shared, just at the end there, I went to my business coach because I wanted business coaching. I didn't have a problem with my mind, or so I thought. And it wasn't until we started, there was a book we read. The book was actually called As a Man Thinks. We read that first of all, and it's a very short book. And literally we had to read the whole book every day for a month, every single day. And if you failed to, and you had to share your learnings. And if you failed to read that book in a day because you didn't share your learnings, you had to start again from day one. And all of that, and I was just like, this is just so much work. But it was really helping me to program my mind to read, to think about what I'm reading. One of the first things you can do is read, but put a plan in place. I think one of the great things you can do is take action. Take action. For example, you want to have an abundant mindset. What is, maybe generally when I'm walking on the street, I see someone who is in need of a fiver or something like that. And most times I wouldn't give £5 because I think, well, he's only going to go spend it on cigarettes. He's only going to go and have alcohol. He's only going to go take drugs, right? Actually, taking a step might mean I actually go and give them that £5, or I give them that £10, or I go to the shop and buy them something. I do something that's out of character, out of my poverty mindset character. I step out. I begin to become more generous. I begin to be more gratituous. I acknowledge the things around me, the people around me, the way I speak to them. My speaking changes. The things I do changes. People can see a change in me, right? And then that's how we begin to line up with an abundant mindset. We can truly live and become that as we embrace the change or the transformation that comes.
Excellent. I could just listen to you all evening. Okay, so now what about if you, I'm just scrolling through the questions. Okay, so what would you say to somebody that in general has always been positive, has been, really good at business and is forward thinking, and then they become ill or someone dies, they suffer some form of deep loss through illness or a death. How would you get them back on their feet? How would you encourage them, even in the midst of the turmoil, to stay positive?
I think that's a very, very good question, because that's something that we cannot control. If sickness comes or someone who you love dies, that in itself can be quite what's the word? It can give you that negative feeling and think, like, what's the point of life? And this person did this, or it gives you that negative sort of feeling. But I think it's really just choosing to be. I mean, one of the first things you can do is be thankful in the situation, that, well, thankfully I had a great time with them. I often tell people who lose people that, just hold on to the memories that you have with them, appreciate that. But, one thing I've found is that sometimes it's the people that are in pain, we can learn a lot of lessons from them. A friend of mine, her story was in the news a couple of years ago. She lost her family due to they went on an excursion, and she lost 2 children and her husband in the swimming pool. On that excursion. And I was just blown away by her reaction. You know, she had lost them and it was really, really a hurtful loss. And I remember when I went to go visit her and she was like, Debs, you know, you got to eat. What's done is done. We just got to praise God. We just got to be happy. We just got to keep on moving. So sometimes you find, and I think it's really about how you build yourself now. If you are intentional about building an abundant mindset, even when pain comes, even when tragedy comes, yes, of course, acknowledge that. Of course, acknowledge your feelings. That we're human after all. We're not, we're not super beings. So that's going to come. It's going to make you feel low. It's going to make you feel depressed. But you can still choose how you respond. That doesn't mean that you don't live an abundant life. You know, you can be grateful for what you've had with them. You see. I mean, there's the guy that's got no hands and no arms. I've forgotten his name, but he's an amazing speaker. And you see people like that, and they've got less than what we've got, but they're making it work for them. He's one who has an abundant mindset, and it's working for him. So the fact that I
met him, I've met him at an event way back when. He's serious. He's lovely and so funny.
Yeah. So things will happen to you that depress you, that make you feel low. And it's okay to acknowledge that. If you need to get counseling in that moment, if you need to get therapy in that moment, do so. But even in getting the counseling and the therapy, we can be thankful that there's people we can reach out to. We have family around us. There's so much we can be thankful for, even in those moments. If you're a person of faith, you can be thankful that you have a relationship with God. You know that they're in a better place and all of those things. So it's a difficult one, but you just got to remain positive, because if you don't, that can have a negative impact on your health, not just on your mind, but on your health as well and your future. So it's very important to keep on keeping on and make sure you have the right support systems in place. Make sure you get the help that you need. And then with time, you can be thankful for the help and for the people and the support that is around you.
Yeah. And is that the same sort of answer that you would give to somebody that's actually been diagnosed as clinically depressed because of an incident in their life?
I think with clinical depression, I would say that's a bit beyond me, because obviously it's clinical. I mean, if they're in the state of mind where they can begin to think positively, but I think that would require help, professional help. And I do believe that some of what they use is gratitude and some of those things to help them as well. So in as much as I would say yes, I would still say they should get the help that they need. Don't just rely on what I'm saying, but actually go get the medical help that you need. And they have exercises that will help you to get out of that depressive state, so that you can start to see things more clearly and then be more appreciative of what you do have.
Wonderful. And as a world-class coach, would you say that in the Christian community, especially in the Black churches, that we do not kind of not accept, wrong word, that we don't acknowledge depression as a thing enough?
I'd say yes. Yes, to an extent. Now, I guess people of my age, when I think about people of my age way back when, the mental health arena and the field that we have today wasn't as prevalent as it is. We didn't know much about it then, but all of us, we went through depression, we went through also, we just didn't call it that, and we dealt with it as in how we dealt with it. Thankfully, I believe that more churches and more Christian organizations are becoming a bit more open to therapy and to the fact that someone can actually be depressed and need help, and to just help for them. And I think all of that is great. I think the Christian community needs to do more sessions like this, maybe not just on poverty and abundance mindset, but even on therapy. What I'm speaking about today is probably more therapy for the mind. When you came, you felt like you've been to the spa and everything. It's therapy for the mind. It's making over your mind, to an extent. But we also need the other sort of therapy for our soul and for our emotions, and where we're feeling depressed and stuff like that. So I feel like the church does need to do a bit more in that space, to make that available to people, and to make them feel like just because you're going for therapy doesn't mean you don't have faith, doesn't mean you don't love God. Actually, you're appreciating the fact that somebody has a skill in therapy to help you to get through whatever it is you need help with in that moment in time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for answering that. Our next question is, I need to know how to manage what I have.
Okay.
That was the question.
Well, amen. I hope you find how to manage what you have. I mean, what I would say is get yourself a coach. Get yourself a coach, get yourself a mentor, because sometimes we can't see what we have. It's like that story in the Bible with the woman with the oil, right? She didn't know what she had until somebody else came and made it obvious to her that, look, you have bowls, go and borrow, you have oil, go and borrow bowls. And then suddenly she realized that actually she had more than she needed, right? So
Yes.
sometimes you need somebody else to call it out, right? So I would say get help, get a mentor, read books and stuff like that. But think about, what exactly do you want to do? What gives you joy? What are you passionate about? How can you make a difference? How can you impact this world, right? How can you give back to the people around you? And that in itself should help you to start off. But essentially, I would say, yes, get a mentor. Generally, a mentor is somebody who will help you in an area that they have success in. And a coach is somebody who will help you get to where you need to go. They might not necessarily have been there, but they have experience of working with people who've been there. They can help you, just to bring out what's within you so that you can become the person that you were created to be. And so that you're not a shadow of yourself, as you spoke about earlier on.
Yeah. And the next question kind of tags on, you partially answered it. The question is, what should I look for in a mentor, and how do I ask them to mentor me? So I'm assuming then it's not a mentor that runs it as a business. It's somebody maybe in your church or in your
Right.
community that has the kind of nuggets that you feel that you need. How do you approach them?
I was going to say, because some people charge for mentoring services and some people don't. If we're thinking
Yeah.
about the one that's not paid for, if you see someone that's excelling in an area that you want to excel in, I would say, study them. What have they done? Learn from them in terms of the things that they've done and things that you want to do. And if you find that you're aligned with that person, simply approach them and say, I admire the way you do this. I love the way you do that. I really want to, just come under your tutelage. I want to learn from you. Would you be my mentor? Would you help me in this area? I can see you're thriving in this area. Be willing to give. Earlier when I talked about, maybe volunteering your time, your energy, what have you got that you can give to them in return for what they're going to give to you, right? So we're having an abundant mindset. So I'm not going to my mentor to just take. I see their thriving, so I just want to take from them. No, I'm going to them and saying, look, this is what I have to offer. I have this time, I have that. Because some people say they want a mentor, and literally what they want is you just tell me exactly what you did so I can go do the same. But they don't want to serve the person. They don't want to be there. They don't want to learn. And a lot of learning is through shadowing. It's by being there and watching them and learning, and maybe sometimes getting the tea and sometimes doing the photocopying and doing those mundane jobs that you don't necessarily want to do. But it's about making yourself available to learn, showing them that you have a teachable mind. You're willing to learn, and you're willing to do those things necessary to get the teaching and to get the learnings that you require from this person. So don't be afraid to step out. Don't be afraid to go to somebody if they say that they don't have the capacity. Because when you have a mentor, I know we have mentors from afar, maybe in books and courses, but it's important to have a mentor that you can meet with on a regular basis, whether that's once a week or once a month, whether you can sit down, they can review, what you're doing, your learnings, they can tell you where you're going wrong, they can help you, etc. And in addition to that, you can also say, how can I help you? How can we work together? You can find ways that you can also help that person as well.
Okay. And someone is asking about the John Maxwell book. They're asking, was it 21 Laws of Leadership?
All of Jen Maxwell's books are good, but I'm biased, so I would say that. The book I shared just a moment ago was it's really just about your mindset. This one is called Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. So rather than thinking about sometimes I win, sometimes I lose, which is a poverty mindset, it's actually sometimes I win and sometimes I learn. And this is just one book of many. Another book, which is life transformational, which I recommend everybody gets. It's called The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Trying to see if I can see it now. I do have it here somewhere. It's just one moment if I can see it. All right, I can't see it right now, but it's a green book. It's called The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. It's by John Maxwell. It's an amazing book. It's great for, challenging your mindset and getting you to see yourself from a different perspective and also to see what's possible.
Wonderful. And I think the book that somebody else is referring to also is the little small book that John Maxwell made you read every day.
Okay, so no, that wasn't by John Maxwell. That was by another coach of mine. But the book is called As a Man Thinketh, and it's by a guy called James Allen. So it's by James Allen, and the book is called As a Man Thinketh. It's a very short book. I think you may even find it on PDF somewhere. It's on Audible, or you can buy it from Amazon, and it's very cheap, even though, we have an abundant mindset.
Wonderful. So I'm just going to speak to the team. Have we come to the end of the questions? Can somebody let me know, please? Yes, all done. Thank you so much, Coach Debs.
Thank you for having me.
New question just come in. What's the difference between a mentor and a coach?
Okay, so I think I said that before. So a mentor, and I do know that some mentors charge, and some coaches charge as well, and some don't. Most coaches will charge you. Some mentors, yes or no. But a mentor is somebody who is active in what you want to be active in. So if I want to be a hairdresser, and I want a mentor, I will go and find somebody who is a hairdresser on the type of hair that I want to dress, and will they be able to actually show me the ropes. So a mentor generally will show you exactly what they're doing step by step. Now, a coach is slightly different. A coach will draw out some of those treasures that are inside of you that you're not aware of. They will draw out your potential that is inside of you that you're not aware of. And what a coach does is they help you to get from where you are to where you need to be. They're like the sat nav. So they help you, you know that I want to do this. I have no idea how I'm going to get there. And so what they do is they help you to identify where you are right now, what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths. And then they help you along the way as you come up with the steps to get there. They also help you with accountability. So because you meet with them on a regular basis, they check, right, have you done this? Have you done that? Where are you with this? Where are you with that? So they give you a kick up the butt if you need it, just to get going. And they're really keen on getting that end result. Now, a coach can coach you in various different areas. We tend to have our niches, but generally we can coach in any area at all. But a mentor will focus in on one area. And generally you go to that mentor. So some people have lots of mentors. Some people also have lots of coaches as well. But that's the difference between the two. Now, a mentor can also be a coach. I do mentoring. I mentor I do a lot of mentoring for young people. And I do that. Yeah. So I do mentoring, but my business is coaching. So I do a lot of coaching as well. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, wonderful. I normally think of it as a football coach they know the rules of the games and what have you, but they are not always have been a footballer. You know, they haven't been a Beckham or whatever, but they know the rules and they know the laws and they know how to pull the best out of you, what exercises you need to do and so forth. But they may not be footballers themselves. Whilst as a mentor will definitely be a footballer,
will be a footballer,
you know, or whatever it is that you're wanting to
and then
learn.
sometimes you have a mentor coach, someone who's played football but is also the coach. And actually the word coach is derived from the word that means carriage, and I'm not really sure exactly what the word is, but essentially it's a carriage that takes you from where you are to where you need to be. So it doesn't dwell where you need to be. It just helps you to get from where you are to where you need to get to. So you have an idea of where you want to get to. Sometimes it's not necessarily clear, but they help to bring clarity, and they help to give you this to draw out the steps or show you the steps that you need to get there.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much for your time. We honor you. And I mean, we will have to bring you on again later on down the road. I will send over to you at some point, maybe early next year, the list of subjects that we will have for each month. And then you could choose the one that you want to go on in. So thank you to my audience. Thank you to Apostle Gobade and Lady Triumph for allowing us, for being such progressive leaders and allowing us to do stuff like this in your name. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. Thank you, everyone. We will be coming on again next month. Listen out for the date on the church's website and the theme. Please, please, please share the link to this, because people will be able to see the replay link posted later on below it. We thank you. We thank you, Coach Debs. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you. Good night.